All right, so I asked you to solve this one. This is what we did Thursday night, okay? And the way we did these is to move that C to the other side. And when I move 7 over, I have to subtract it. That's why it's -7 on the other side. We good so far? And then to fill in the blank, to complete the square, we take half of the B. What's B, Badger? I know. That's why I asked it. No, that's the C. A is 1, B is -10, and C is 7. So what's half of B? 5. And then to fill in the blank, we have to square that. All right, so 5 squared, 25 goes in here. Okay? So what we did, and when we complete the square, we made that trinomial on the left, one of those special trinomials that you can factor with one set of parentheses. And what you do is you take the square root of x squared, which is always going to be that, going to be x, okay, or it could be a different letter, but there won't be any number in front of that squared term. A will always be 1 to do this method. All right, whatever's in front of the B, that's a minus sign, so it goes here, and then the square root of what you put in the blank. Square root of 25 is 5, and then you square it. And -7 plus 25 is 18. So there's our problem. Now, if we were writing it in vertex form, at this point we would just subtract the 18 over. Okay, that's what we were doing Friday, right? So that's part. So if we wanted to, if I asked you to just put it in vertex form, that would be vertex form. Just bring the 18 back over, and then our vertex would be the opposite of -5 and whatever's out there. So that would be the vertex. So that was part of what we did on Friday, right? And then finishing this, if I ask you to solve like I'm asking you to do now, we have to take the square root of both sides now. And we get x minus 5, because the square root of something squared is itself. The square root and the square cancel each other out. And then remember, you need a plus or a minus over here when you take the square root. And this is 9 times 2 if you do a little factor tree. The square root of 9 is what? 3, so I bring the 3 out front, and then the 2 stays underneath. And then to finish this up, you'd add 5 to the other side. So it becomes 5 plus or minus 3 times the square root of 2. Okay? So I kind of did both things that we worked on last Thursday and Friday in that problem. That's it. Any questions on that formula? Okay, let's look at what we did for homework. All right, Brennan, what'd you get for 1?
I got 36.
Okay, and what's it factored? It says complete the square and then factor it. We just did one right here. Come on, take the square root of both of those. What you just had.
Well, x plus 6.
Yeah.
Squared.
Right. See, you can do that. Gabby, what'd you get for 2?
4.
Yeah, and what'd you get when you factor it?
The x minus 2 squared.
Good. Logan, you can go ahead and do 3 for us.
The blank is 81.
Good.
And then you subtract 81.
No, just factor. Make it look, like this x minus 5 squared. Just do that.
X minus 9 squared.
Good. Number 4, Sabrina.
100 is both of them, and that's x plus 10.
Correct. Any questions on those first 4? Cole, did you find it? You stopped looking?
Yes.
Okay. Number 5. Cole,
Got x equals 1 and x equals -3.
that is correct. 1 and -3. Anybody need to see number 5? Lucas, number 6.
I think I messed up on that one. I got plus or minus 2, and then square root of 2.
No, what'd you put in your blank?
9.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, I didn't take the square root.
Okay. So we got x squared plus 6x. And then there's nothing there, so we're gonna put plus blank, and on the other side we had -8. So we're gonna add our blank. Remember, what you do one side, you gotta do the other. So we take half of 6, which is 3, and 3 squared is 9. -8 plus 9 is 1 over here. Square root of x squared is x. There's a plus in front of the 6. Square root of 9 is 3. So that's what it looks like. And then we square root both sides. So I get x plus 3 on the left and plus or minus 1 on the right. The square root of 1 is 1. Everybody knows that, right? You should know that. So then I just subtract 3 over to finish it up. And then since I got both are whole numbers, we get -2 and -4. Because I can actually do those two problems, -3 plus 1 and -3 minus 1. Number 7, Sam. I thought that's one you ended on.
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay, well, how far did you get?
I have square root of x minus 1 squared equals square root of 25.
Good, that's correct. So you get to this part, and then square root. So you get x minus 1 is what, Sam?
Equals 5.
Yeah, don't forget plus or minus 5, right? So then we're going to take the 1 over. So we've got two answers again, 1 plus 5 and 1 minus 5. So +6 and -4. Ryder, what'd you get for 8?
Wait, like the answer.
Mm-hmm.
89 and 111.
No. Rylan?
X equals 21. And then I don't know the other one.
What's 11 minus 10? Yeah, 21 and 1. Let's go through that one. This one's a little different because my A value is what, Badger? 3. Very good. So what we have to do is divide everything by 3 first. Because in order for us to do this, A has to be 1. Okay, so I divided everything by 3. What's half of 22? 11. What's 11 squared? 121. So I can factor my perfect square trinomial. That's what we made it when we completed the square. The square root of x squared is x. The minus sign's in front of the 22, so we go minus. The square root of 121 is 11. -21 plus 121 is 100. Now we're going to take the square root of both sides. And we get x minus 11 equals plus or minus 10. Square root of 100 is 10. So then I add the 11 over. So I get 11 plus 10 and 11 minus 10. simple, right?
So
Addie?
for each bottle, you have to do like how you did at the end, like 11 plus 7 and what.
If you get a perfect square over there like we've been getting so far.
Wait, how do you know it's? Oh, I see.
Yeah, you know 100 is a perfect square,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
Now the next one, we won't have that because we don't get a perfect square when we take the square root. We've got 2x squared plus 16x minus 6. So again, we need to get A to be 1.
At this time, we need the middle school pink ball club.
So that's a 3, a negative 3, so I take it over. Comes
7th and
positive.
8th grade book club. Middle school power of the pen. And middle school, high school American Sign Language Club. Please go to the main gym now for your pictures. Thank you.
So that's what it looks like now. So again, the negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3, and I took it to the other side. So it's positive 3. All right? John, what goes in the blank?
I think you're very true. 16.
Come on. What's half of B?
Oh, 8.
What is half of that?
4.
And what's 4 squared?
16.
Right. So everybody listen so that I don't have to repeat it anymore. B divided by 2 squared. Easy. So 8 divided by 4 is, 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 4 squared is 16. Everybody in here should know that by now. Right, Cole?
Oh, yeah.
Right, Badger?
Yep.
Right, John? Yeah, you know now. Three plus 16 is 19. Square root of x squared. This is always going to be x unless it's a different letter. It's going to be x squared, a squared, s squared, b squared. Okay? Whatever's in front of this b, you watching? Is plus in this problem. Right, Henry? Whatever's in the blank, take the square root of that. By now, all of you in here should know what we're doing. Now we just take the square root of both sides to finish it up. Now, 19 is not a perfect square. So what Addie asked, is that you, James? I know.
I think that's my phone.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
We'll fix it,
Yeah.
please. All right, so since we don't have a perfect square, we try to simplify it. Is there any factor tree I can do with 19 to simplify that radical? No, right? Just 1 times 19, right? The prime, what we call a prime number. So all I gotta do is subtract the 4 over. My answer is negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 19. You can leave it that way. Okay? Because you don't know exactly what the square root of 19 is. I do not want a decimal answer. Right, Fisher? No decimals. Radical form. This is not that difficult, but you got to put some time in. You got to pay attention. Quit making excuses. You know what they say, right, John? Don't say it, but you know what I'm talking about, right? John knows what I'm talking about. He can tell you later, not right now. All right, before I can do this, I got what for A? 6. So what do I got to do in the first step? Divide everything by 6. So I get x squared is what I want. 12 divided by 6 is 2. Negative 42 divided by 6 is negative 7. So that's what my problem looks like. All right, what's half of 2? 1. What's 1 squared? 1. Negative 7 plus 1 is negative 6. Factor that. The square root of x squared. There's a plus in front of the 2, in front of the b. So that's plus. Square root of 1 is 1. Questions? Now what do we do to both sides? Square root. Now, can I do a factor tree for 6? Just 2 times 3, right? Or 1 times 6, is that going to help me? But since it's negative, what do I got to do? Pull the I out, yes. We've done this. Don't forget about that. So we can turn it into a positive 6. We take that negative, the square root of negative one side, James. To answer your question.
So,
6 divided by 2 became negative 3, so then I added 3 over.
yeah, I know that.
Okay.
So you took half of B.
Right.
Which is 4.
4 squared it.
Squared it.
Yeah,
So
it's
then
b divided by 2 squared always goes in the blank.
So then why didn't you square 1 down on 10? You did a square root of 1. Yeah, square root.
Okay, so I took, first of all, we divided by 6 to get that 2, right? And then 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 1 squared is 1.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
You said the square root of 1.
Yeah, that's, to write this number, I take the square root of that number.
Okay.
All right,
Are
Brennan?
you allowed to do a factor tree for 6?
You can, but there's, I mean, it's just gonna be 2 times 3, but there's nothing you can pull out front then. There's, neither one of those is a perfect square, right?
Yeah.
Okay? You know, if it was 12 and then it's 4 times 3, then I can pull a 2 out, right?
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? Good questions. That's what we need. If you're not sure about something, ask. All right. So that was solving them. When we turned it over, we didn't have to solve them. We had to rewrite them in vertex form. Okay? Like this type. Okay? So let's go through, we'll go back to that one. If I can, eventually. But for number 11, we're going to take the 13 over. All right? So it's negative 13 plus blank equals x squared minus 4x. So I did the first step. I took the 13 over. What goes in the blank, Ryder?
4.
Yeah. Half of 4. My b is 4. Half of 4 is 2. 2 squared is 4. So over here on the right, square root of x squared, there's a minus in front of the b, square root of 4. And then negative 13 plus 4 is negative 9. Okay? Now, when you're solving, you take the square root. When you're changing it to vertex form, you just bring this number back over. So it's y equals x minus 2 squared plus 9. So since it's in vertex form, we can tell what the vertex is. The opposite of that negative 2 is my x value, And whatever's out on the back there, positive 9 is my y value. That's my vertex. If I had to graph it, I would know where to put that. All right, number 12. What's the answer? Lydia, did you fix that one?
Yeah, I started to, but then couldn't finish it. But for the x, I got -7/2. I took from the y.
Well, it's 14, right? So what's half of 14?
7.
And then when you square it, what goes in the blank then? Yeah, 49.
I put
You
4.
kept putting a fraction in there, right? So you did like an extra divided by 2. So it should be x plus 7 squared. And then on the left, what's negative 71 plus 49? Anybody have that already? Cole, you got it?
-22.
Yeah. So you should have negative 22 equals x plus 7 squared.
Your
And then add
attention,
the 22
please.
over.
At this time, we need the JTC, Job Training Coordination, along with Middle School, High School, Fellowship of Christian Students. Also, yes, that would be Fellowship of Christian Students, Middle School and High School. Please go to the main gym now to have your photo taken. Thank you.
So then, when you write y equals, or this one was f of x, you get x plus 7 squared plus 22. So your vertex is negative 7 and positive 22. All right, number 13. Let's look at that one because it has a 9 in front. So we've got h of x, and then we got 9x squared plus 18x minus 3. Okay? So what I like to do first on these is bring the c over so it becomes positive 3. And then I can't have a be a 9, so I'm going to treat this. So this we took over here. So I'm just looking at these two. What's the GCF between those two? What goes into both of those? Bigger than 3. 9, yeah. So pull that 9 out front, and you got x squared, and 18x divided by 9 is 2x. And then we got the plus blank. So that's what it looks like because of that 9 was it, right?
For the GCF, could you pull 9x out?
No, I guess we just want just what number. We don't want the x because we want to keep the x squared plus 2x in here so I can complete the square here. That's a good question. Because he's right. If we think about what goes into both of those, but we're just looking at the number. We just want to basically pull out the A is what we're saying.
Why are we just dividing by 9?
Because we're not solving it, we're rewriting it in vertex form. So that's why we have to do it this way. Okay?
I forgot I had a speaker. My bad.
Nice. I forgot I had a speaker in here. What should you listen to? Where's my mind?
Okay, so what goes in the blank? Cohen?
So would 2x still be the b?
Yeah, 2's my B now.
So would it just be 1?
Yep. Any questions?
No.
All right. Everybody understands why it's 1, right? So this is a 4. Over here, just keep the 9. Square root of x squared is x. The b has a plus in front of it. The square root of 1 is 1. And then I have to bring the 4 back over. Remember, we're just rewriting it in vertex form. We're not solving it. This one was h of x, so that's why I'm writing that. So now it's in vertex form. So my vertex is what? Cole? Here's my vertex form. So what's my vertex? -4. What was the other number you said?
4.
Not positive one, negative one. Remember, it's the opposite of what's in there. Right, Badger? -1, -4. Okay? So that was a little trickier. 13 and 14 are a little trickier because A isn't 1. All right, so we're going to do the same thing with 14 because we got a 2 for A. So we're going to bring the 3 over. Oh, you know what? I made a mistake. What did I forget? Guys, remember from Friday? What did I forget? Lydia. Correct. That's the tricky part I was talking to you about. So, and I forgot about it. All right. So this is going to be different over here. All right. Since I factored this 9 out as a GCF, a greatest common factor, all right, just the number, not that we're not worried about the letters right now, the variable, all right. Basically, I'm adding 9 over here because it's 9 times 1. So I have to remember, which I forgot, sorry about that, I forgot that I got to make sure I multiply that blank by 9 as well. Make sure I'm doing the same thing to both sides. I got in a hurry, and that's usually when we make mistakes, when we get in a hurry. So this should be 3 plus 9, so this should be a 12 here. So I'm going to subtract 12. So my vertex is -1, -12. All right, so on number 14, let's not forget about that. Okay, so on the I'm going to factor that 2 out, so I'm going to put it in right now. All right, so when I take the 2 out, I get x squared minus 4x. All right, and then half of 4 is 2, and 2 squared is 4. So this 4 times 2 is 8, -3 plus 8 is 5. This, when I factor, is x minus square root of 4, 2 squared. Then I bring the 5 over by subtracting it. So is this y equals this time 2x minus 2 squared minus 5. So my vertex is what, Ryan?
2 -5.
Thanks. John,
May I please quickly interrupt you?
do you understand why it's 2 -5 the vertex?
Yeah, it's the opposite of what's in the parentheses and -5.
Okay. Go ahead. All right. Did this help going over it slower? Should I have to tell you how to do the blank anymore? No. All right.
Actually, I understand.
All right. I'll give you the night off. No homework.